The greatest moment at Columbia Park took place on October 12, 1905. After the cancellation of the World Series in 1904, the 1905 Fall Classic was considered by many to be the first official World Series. Since it was the first matchup under the postseason's current rules, it pitted teams from the nation's biggest cities in the Philadelphia Athletics and the New York Giants. It had the game's biggest managers in Connie Mack and John McGraw. It was the first series to be decided best 4 out of 7, and it also had the two best pitchers in baseball and future Hall of Famers Eddie Plank and Christy Mathewson. Game 1 would be a matchup against these two starters, with both pitchers being at the top of their game, but it was Mathewson who would prevail, winning by a score of 3-0. The series would shift to the Polo Grounds for Game 2, where the A's would even up the series on a complete game shutout by future Hall of Famer Chief Bender. For Game 3, the series would head back to Philadelphia, where the A's would have to face Christy Mathewson again. Starting for Philadelphia was Andy Coakley, who had come into his own as a premier pitcher, winning 18 games during the regular season, but he would get into trouble early. He would start the game by hitting Roger Bresnahan, and 1 out later Mike Donlin would single to right to put runners on the corners. Dan McGann would then single to score Bresnahan, and Sam Mertes would reach on an error by second baseman Danny Murphy to score Donlin and give New York a 2-0 lead. Coakley would then walk Bill Dahlen to load the bases, and with the way that Mathewson had pitched in Game 1, Coakley could not afford to give up any more runs. He would then get Art Devlin to hit into a double play and get out of the inning, giving the A's a chance to come back. It would be Philadelphia's turn in the bottom half, when leadoff hitter Topsy Hartzell reached on an error at third by Devlin. Hartzell would steal second, and 1 out later, the American League's home run and RBI leader Harry Davis came to the plate. Jasper would hit a comebacker to Mathewson, who would throw the ball to third, and Hartzell would be tagged out in the rundown. Big Six would then retire Lave Cross on a ground ball to get out of the inning and would settle down for the next 3 frames, as would Coakley. Then, the top of the 5th, the Giants would threaten again. They would load the bases with 1 out for McGann, who would hit a ground ball to Murphy that appeared to be a double play, but Murphy would misplay the ball to give the Giants another run. With the bases reloaded, Mertes came to the plate and singled to right to drive in another run. New York would score 3 more runs, highlighted by a steal of home by Dahlen, the first in World Series history, taking a 7-0 lead, which would be more than enough for Mathewson, as he would go all the way for the Giants and defeat the A's 9-0 for a second consecutive complete game shutout. With New York leading 2-1, the series would shift back to the Polo Grounds, where the Giants would take a 3-1 series lead on a masterful complete game shutout by future Hall of Famer Joe McGinnity. And in Game 5, Christy Mathewson, to the amazement of everyone, would pitch yet another complete game shutout to clinch the Giants' first World Championship. The 1905 World Series would be memorable in many ways. It would be the first series to have a team lose on an unearned run. It was the first series which consisted entirely of complete game shutouts, and the Giants' pitching staff remarkably gave up no earned runs in the series, setting a mathematically unbreakable record for the lowest series ERA of 0. The series was also the beginning of a postseason rivalry for both the A's and Giants, as they would face each other 3 more times, with the A's winning each time. But the series would be best remembered for the 3 complete game shutouts thrown by Christy Mathewson, which was just the beginning of what would be a Hall of Fame career. Big Six would go on to win 373 games, with a career ERA of 2.18, 2,502 strikeouts, 79 shutouts, 14 20-win seasons, 4 of 30 wins or more, 5 ERA titles, and 5 strikeout titles, and would be among one of the famous first 5 to be elected into the Hall of Fame in 1936.